Hello everybody from a gorgeous day. I have something a bit crazy for you this time around. I've got a 3-part video series all about my wood stove. It's a lot, but I've been working on this project for a while and I've had lots of twists and turns and lots of different things to do related to this wood stove. So part 1 is going to see me talk about all of the problems that I've had with the stove. It might go into a bit more detail than you want to see, so I've put chapters down in the description so you can skip ahead. But if you're somebody that wants to know about problems that you could possibly have with your wood stove installation, it'll definitely be useful. Or if you want to see what my thought process is and how I work through problems, it could also be entertaining as well. And then I clean the pipes out and basically just puzzle through that and think about solutions for how I'm going to solve all of these problems that I have with the stove. Part 2 sees me pick up the pieces of pipe that I need, try to puzzle through the solutions even more, wrestle with an angle grinder, grind out some stone, and try to finish the job unsuccessfully. And then part 3 will see me finish the job off and finally wash my hands of this whole thing once and for all. So this is part 1. Part 2 and 3 will follow tomorrow and the next day. I hope you enjoy it. Let's just get straight into it, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Good morning. It's very gloomy out here, and it's actually raining a little bit as well. I was gonna work on my wood stove Flue today, take it all apart, see what's happening in there, but I don't want to do it while it's raining. It already leaks water inside, and I don't want to open it all up and get even more water in there. So I'm going to postpone that job until tomorrow. But that doesn't mean we can't go take a look at this thing, and I'll tell you what I think the problems are and try to convey my frustrations as I try to figure out solutions. So let's go take a look at this bad boy. His name is Mr. Burns. I love it, but it has some little quirks and things that are annoying. And the Flue is a Frankenstein situation. So let's go take a look at this thing and go from there. So let me explain a little bit about Mr. Burns, my wood stove. I had it custom made because I wanted it to fit into a certain type of space. I didn't want it to be a fully corner stove, and I didn't want it to be sort of a rectangular stove. I wanted kind of a weird wedge shape. But more importantly than that, I also wanted something a little bit artistic, creative, something that was a little bit different than an off-the-shelf stove. And I like supporting local artisans. I really like this guy's work, and so I decided to go for a custom wood stove. As a bonus, I was also able to design it to a specific size, get an oven put in there, and all that stuff. So that's how Mr. Burns came to be. He cost me around 650 euros, I think, and then the flue piping on top of that cost maybe another 300 or so. So a pretty expensive endeavor, but I'm really happy with it, mostly. I'm certain that the guy that made the stove was super fed up with me by the end of this whole process. I'm quite particular about things, and I was probably annoying this guy with all of my little changes and details I wanted and stuff like that. So he was fed up with me by the end of it. But you know when you just have this kind of like feeling that there's going to be something, there's just going to be this little thing that I didn't think of, and it's going to annoy me later on? I kind of had that feeling from the start, and the thing that I feel like is very annoying now is the fact that for some reason the guy that made the stove welded the baffle in place. The baffle is a piece of metal that sits above the fire within the firebox below the sort of flue exit. And I think the idea is to steer some of the heat into the room, but it also does something with the smoke and the flow of the air. I still don't know what it's for really, but I know that every other stove I've ever encountered has a removable baffle, and the reason for that is because you have to be able to lift the plate out so you can take a chimney sweeper thing and stick it up the flue. If you can't remove the baffle, you can't access the flue from within the stove, and you can't really clean it. I guess you could go up to the top and push all this stuff, debris down, but then it'll get stuck in the baffle, and that's really hard to access. There's only a teeny tiny little gap at the front, and I suppose one could go in and get a vacuum with a special ash attachment and try to suck all that stuff out, sticking the hose in the little gap. But if the baffle was removable, I wouldn't have this problem, and I could just lift it out, clean everything out, and put it back in place. So I don't know if this is an oversight by the guy. I don't know if this is a common thing. If anyone else out there has a stove with a welded on baffle, I would be very curious to know. Let's see if I can see what's happening up there. I don't know. Let's send the camera up and see what's happening inside the baffle, because I cannot see it with my eyes. So let's send the GoPro in. Hopefully it's not too funky back there, but I really have no idea. And so what that means is cleaning my stove is more complicated. To further make things complicated, I have my pipe going through the wall at a 45-degree angle. It means that I can't detach the pipes from inside the house to clean the stove without being able to pull that 45-degree angle pipe backwards through the wall, which means that I can't fasten it into the wall because then I can't pull it back. So I need a solution where I can remove the pipes to clean the stove. Another thing I've learned through some internet research, I know all about the world of baffles. Now I know about the world of creosote as well. Creosote is a sticky black tar substance that will always be accumulated in your flue pipe, no matter what, even if you burn amazingly efficient fires, even if you're using super dry, good firewood, it'll still accumulate, and that's the reason you should clean your flue annually. But what can happen if you don't clean your flue, or if you're burning particularly wet or bad wood and your fire is not very hot or not very efficient, is this stuff will build up a lot more quickly and it'll just totally cake up your flue. I know I have creosote inside my flue because I have creosote leaking outside my flue, which is a third thing. So I've got the baffle situation that makes it hard to clean. I've got this creosote stuff to clean. And then I also have kind of a janky flue setup. My flue, for some reason that I completely forget, has a whole bunch of weird attachments going in all different directions, and that needs to be addressed. All the research I've done online has said the male should be going into the female in the downward direction so that this creosote stuff, which is bound to accumulate, doesn't escape. So for some reason, like I said, that I do not know, I don't remember, this is an adapter. I guess I just couldn't find the right length for this. Who knows? But anyways, this is a opposite. So this is a male going into the female in the upward direction, and it means that there's a gap that the creosote can then leak out of, and it oozes everywhere and it smells really bad. I think it was so cold in November when I finally got my stove, and I was so desperate to just get this thing in place and get the fire on that I ended up with something that didn't make any sense. I just rushed things. I bought pieces that I didn't need. I needed adapters to fit the stove properly, and everything just got all crazy. So I need to solve that problem as well. I have ideas. My main ideas are basically going to be to replace the weird double-sided, double-direction pipe that's giving me the creosote leaking problem. And then I'm also going to try to insulate the pipe on the outside of the house. And lastly, I'm going to put a sort of sleeve around my pipe that goes through the wall that will allow me to then move the pipe, the 45-degree pipe, in and out of the wall without having to like bash the rocks out and set it free. All of this makes sense in my head. It could sound completely bonkers to you. That's my long-winded explanation of the issues with Mr. Burns and my flue system, and I'm going to try my hardest to solve them this week while it's sunny and still warm, because I definitely cannot tolerate another November of being cold without my wood stove. I probably should have addressed this stuff earlier in the year, but I did not. But I really hope I can sort it out, because nobody needs to be wearing mittens to bed. Nobody. I don't want that scenario again, and so I'm gonna get to work on this starting tomorrow when it's dry. I'm gonna pull the pipes apart and we're gonna see what's happening in there. That's step number one, and then I'll go to the wood stove people, get a piece made that I need, and I'm gonna go price up the insulated flues. I think they're quite expensive, and that's probably why I didn't buy them last year. But I think it'll help my problem, and if it does, it'll be worth the money. So that's my story of my wood stove, all of the issues that I have, and I'm gonna start dealing with things tomorrow, and hopefully I can solve this problem. Good morning, everybody. It's very windy out here. At least it sounds windy. Today, I'm dealing with you, Mr. Burns. Might not be so smart to take this apart in the wind. I don't know if it'll want to blow all the soot everywhere, but today's the day. I can't be cold again tonight. So I need to get up with a ladder, move all this crap away, and hop up there. So I'm not totally sure whether this one can be saved or not. It's pretty caked on, but we'll give it a try. It's always nice to try to not ruin things. So if I can clean it, I will. The way things are now, I think I might just reassemble the whole stove while I spend a little bit more time working on a solution. I do want to insulate the outside, and I haven't fully got a plan or the money yet in place to be able to do that. So if I can just give these pipes a really good clean now, reassemble the whole thing, and run it for another couple of weeks, that'll be fine with me. So I feel like cleaning the pipes out is definitely something one wants to do once a year at least. And so I need a solution where I can easily disassemble the pipes so I can actually do the cleaning. I haven't actually pulled the stuff apart on the inside yet, and I'm super curious to see what it's like in the pipes on the inside of the house. So I'm going to open it up, see what's going on, and if I can, I'll give it a good clean. So I've got my tools, I've got my mask and gloves. This has the potential to be very messy, so I'll be interested to see how much of this crap flies out everywhere. Hopefully not too much, but as you can see, it's not like my place is pristine. Not exactly an industry standard mask, but it'll do. It's pretty hard to move. I need to pull this piece back in order to be able to then lift this piece up. But it's not budging, so I'm going to go to the outside and see if I can pull it rather than push. This stuff might spill out everywhere. I have no idea. Ooh. Seems like it's liquidy. This could be a bad move. Oh, no, it's okay. This piece here, connected to this piece here, does not want to budge. So this here, that is incredibly bad. I don't know how much of that is from where the shaking caused a bunch of it to drop down. It must be a bit because there's no daylight there, so obviously there was some air getting out because I was making fires. But that's pretty caked up and pretty terrible. And just as bad is this. So it's not as horrifying as it might seem at first because this part here on this side is actually the top of the box for the stove, which might be another design flaw for this thing. You know, there's sort of an obstruction to the pipe. Smoke will find its way out, but creosote that drops in will want to sit on top of that box. So I have a lot of cleaning to do. So this piece is crazy. I think maybe with the metal bar I can just bash that stuff out, but it's insane that I let it get to this level, and possibly dangerous as well. So let that be a lesson to me and anyone out there that has a wood stove. Clean your flue, ladies and gentlemen. I was kind of an idiot on this one. Wow, so much has come out of there. It's crazy. Yeah, weird stuff. The baffles up here, it's welded in place, and I can barely get my hand in farther than that, so I have to kind of go in with this and try to reach up. There's probably a better tool for the job for this, but it's weird that I need a tool at all. So I've got to kind of reach up and then just kind of try to scrape in there. Pull things closer to the front, and then just go in with my hand and try to scrape it out as much as possible. Surely this can't be the way it's supposed to be. All that creosote crap that's fallen in there is just sort of sitting at the back now of the baffle. And it's incredibly inconvenient to get it out. Yeah, so happy with the stove, except for this baffle. I don't get it. I don't understand why it's welded on there. And it's extremely frustrating. So as with everything in the world of DIY, there's more than one way to do practically everything. And the flue pipes, I find, are one of these things where you have so many different options. And I need to give this quite a bit of thought, I think. I was hoping I wouldn't have to replace the pipes, and I think I will. So I'm looking at this as an opportunity to get things right this time around. Last time I was rushed, didn't really know what I was doing, didn't do so much research. This time around, I think I know what I'm talking about more or less. I know the questions to ask. So I'm probably going to run into town this afternoon, order the piece that I need, look at what else is available for the outside part, for the insulated pipes. It's windy. Let's go inside. Basically, I know what I'm doing more than I did before. I know the right questions to ask. I think I know the pieces I need, and if I don't, I know the guy to talk to. So I'm going to try to solve this stove issue once and for all, do it right this time around, and not rush into things. Currently I have this gaping hole in my wall. It goes up at a 45-degree angle, and I'm gonna leave it like that while I think about my solution for my flue pipe. I don't want to rush it, but it is gonna rain Tuesday, so there is some kind of a time limit, but I want to stew over some ideas overnight, and then tomorrow I can probably get the pieces I need to finish this job up. It's a new morning and it's incredibly gorgeous out here. I'm going to be spending much of my morning using this metal bar to attempt to clean the inside of this pipe and the other one. I think these can be saved. The Flue pipes are super expensive, so if I can save this guy and not have to buy a new one, I will. I'm going to put in a good effort. But the main thing I want to do is not have creosote at all. So that means I have to make more efficient fires. It means I need to be burning wood that's not crappy, so pine is really bad for creosote, I'm told. Neighbors are chainsawing, everybody's out today, it's such a beautiful day. And I need to have wood that's super seasoned, really dry, and I basically have to have a good flow on my pipe. That seems like kind of an awkward place to stop the video, but it makes sense because in tomorrow's video I go shopping for new pipes. So I'm gonna stop it there, and I'll see you tomorrow for part 2. I hope you enjoyed the video. There's loads more stove action coming your way. As always, thank you for watching. Please do like, subscribe, share it around, and all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next video.